on one hand, I hardly have words to express what I see and the feeling of wonder that I get from this, because I saw this three principles community start with one person. And so how can a community start with one person? But that's the magic and the mystery of what happened to Sydney Banks.
Yeah.
Is that when he had this profound insights about mind, consciousness, and thought, he knew in that moment that this would spread throughout the world. And that statement was so baffling to me. It was impossible. It was just an impossible thing to imagine. My mind couldn't grasp it. Fast forward 44 years. And again, I can hardly grasp it still, except the proof is I get emails every day from around the world, requests for mentoring from people in China, in Thailand, in Israel, in South Africa, and Africa. I don't know how many countries there are in the world, but I don't think there's very few now that have not got at least one person in that country that knows something about the principles. And the interesting thing is that even though I see that it is spread around the world into many, many, many countries, it still in some way seems under the radar. That Sydney Banks' name is not out there like some world leaders and so on. He's still under the radar. And yet this movement of understanding, this new paradigm in mental health and in education and in business and in juvenile justice and in the justice system itself, and on and on and on, in every human endeavor, it's being touched in some way by the three principles. I had somebody here 2 weeks ago from Israel for a mentoring program. And this man travels the world offering his services. I won't say what, because if I do, it may identify him, and I don't want to do that. I respect his privacy. But the work he does is of tremendous value. And so he left the island a stronger, deeper movement into his true nature, where he was seeing beyond the words into the most important thing in connecting, and again in social change in the world, is to connect with another soul, and that will help drive change in global change. And I see some of the younger generation who are strongly grounded in the three principles, and they talk without ego and without arrogance about global change, that they know that when people are touched from the inside out, and when they come to a new understanding of mind, the spiritual essence behind life, that is what will drive global change. Yeah. And so I see that happening in this kind of mysterious way, where on one hand, as I said, it's under the radar, and on the other hand, it's very visible. Because of the requests I get, and then I talk to another colleague and he tells me of the dozens of requests and emails they get. We have the Three Principles Foundation that hosts the Three Principles School, and the foundation always gets requests for books and SIDS materials and so on, and we ship those materials all around the world. And that again is a visible sign of how this understanding is spreading. So how can you explain the mystery of under the radar, and yet it's visible? This understanding is visible in the world. I can't explain it, but I see it.
Yeah.
And I'll end, my my thoughts on this by sharing what I remember Sid saying. You don't have to understand these principles in order to benefit by them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, that's lovely. Thank you. That's been so useful just to get your perspective on how things are developing across the world. And even in our small part of the world here in the southwest of England, we're creating our ripple effect, and we can see that already, particularly in education, where we're getting quite a demand now, where people are looking over there and see what's happening over there, what are they up to, looking at other schools. And what we get a sense of is that when they hear about this, there's a sense of relief and peacefulness. We experience that when people leave. There's a real ease about them, which is what we want them. It's that feeling, isn't it?
Yes.
We want them to take that back into their work in education, because we know that when they operate from that place, they're going to be at their best.
Yeah. And Stu, what you were sharing brought to mind a statement that you and Liz made when you and I were talking earlier, that the two of you had gone away for a couple of days to do some planning for the year.
Yeah.
And you ended up kind of tucking away the planning and you let it unfold. And I think it's a simple point, but it's so relevant that for people to understand the ease of building your business and sharing with the world, is that there's a simplicity about letting wisdom guide us, even in the practical aspect of building our business. Is that we can allow it to unfold. And this change, global change, although we're offering our services to the world, it's coupled with letting it unfold at the same time. There's a partnership between offering service and letting it unfold.
Yeah, that's lovely. And I can relate to that entirely. That's what's happening with us. And we're getting lots of requests from organizations and people, and it's without really planning. It's much easier.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
That's great. Well, look, Elsie, thank you again. It's just so great to get your perspective on things. And I'm looking to seeing you in May here in Devon, and hearing much more about your experience and how you see the world right now. So thank you again.
Thank you, Stu.